So this question of who's going to replace Kevin Samuels is an interesting question, not because I don't think it's being asked in good favor, but I don't think that people really understand what they're asking when they're asking that. And so what do I mean by this? Well, I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you really quickly. The manosphere on one side fundamentally believes that you cannot, for whatever reason or for any reason, no matter the reason, get married to a woman, right? One side of the manosphere thoroughly believes that. Now, this is somebody who is a part of the Manosphere. As a matter of fact, he is one of the originators of the Manosphere. You see here, he has videos dating 4, 5, 6. I think he might have some that are even 7 years ago, right? How to get a woman obsessed with you, how to text the woman, this, and that. So his section of the Manosphere is more like pickup game and things of that nature, right? But you got to understand that he's still Manosphere nonetheless. Titles of his video: don't give women a lot of your energy, don't give women a dime, never live with a woman, women have always been trash. Things every woman knows about men: setting boundaries, traits that make a man toxic. That's good. Look at that. He actually has a good video there, right? So that's in theory what his side believes, and he believes, once again, just titled by this video here, that you should never trust a woman. Right? Never trust a woman. So keep in mind that this side of the manosphere is a group of guys that believe that you shouldn't get in a relationship exclusively with women. Now, once again, we need to go ahead and talk about Kevin Samuels, okay? Kevin Samuels was a relationship, as told by him and defined by him. He was a relationship coach, and he was what I was under the assumption to be a marriage counselor of some sorts, right? So he's a relationship coach and a marriage counselor. Well, a good amount of these guys in these videos don't want relationships to begin with, right? They go against relationship because a good portion of the manosphere is against relationships. And so the first thing that really just jumps out to me as a severe level of cognitive dissonance is understanding that people like Coach Greg Adams, who preach about, his divorce and things of that nature happening, and him having over 100,000 subscribers, 200,000 subscribers cumulatively between all of his YouTube channels and things of that nature, that preach against marriage. And he's even come out on his channel, right? He's even come out on his channel and said, hey, I don't believe in marriage. Listen to this clip right here. I believe we have this at the right time frame, so forgive me, y'all. This is a one-man show here, but the more equipment we get, the easier these things get. So check this out.
Listen, we're not perfect, but I ain't trying to save none of y'all. All right, listen, look, I'm telling y'all to evacuate immediately. Right.
Now, when he says, I'm not trying to save any of y'all, people are like, why do you keep interrupting? I'm sorry. When he says, I'm not trying to save any of y'all, he means that he's not trying to save black women in this case. This is what Coach Greg Adams means, okay? So I need you to understand that.
Get the hell up out of there, bro. But his message seemed to be centered around men, because he was the head of the professional approach. Men who are hope strategists, unfortunately. And
hope strategist. Do you know what hope strategist is key for? Remember when we talked about the red pill, blue pill terminology? Obviously, you probably already know that already, right? Hope strategist is somebody who's a blue pilled man, right? And so a hope strategist essentially would be somebody like Kevin Samuels, somebody who preaches that, hey, you need to for women do this, and that, and guys, hey, be the best man you can be, yada yada yada, so you can get a woman. Even though he didn't say that much, to be quite frank with you, we're just going to go ahead and roll with it, right? That he was hoping that women would be better for the community and men would be better and as leaders that the women would end up following, right? That was Kevin Samuels' ultimate dream and desire. So it's actually been heard or told from Dennis Sperling, right? Dennis Sperling is a close friend of Kevin Samuels, who's kind of keeping things up with the memorial service. He's actually in contact with his mom, right? Direct contact with his mom. He has videos of him hanging out with Kevin behind the scenes and all these different types of things and conversations, right? And so his description or his depiction of Kevin was somebody that genuinely wanted to help the black community. So let's go back to this manosphere thing, okay? The manosphere, a good portion of them have checked out, right? Just like Coach Greg Adams said.
I got to call this out. And so while he did bring more people in, he had a palpable message. The message was more palpable with his delivery. And then people could say he later embraced trying to get married. I don't know. Or he put marriages together. I think a lot of hope strategists found hope in Kevin. All right. And so for better or for worse, in my message, I'm not about hope. All right.
So I need you to understand very clearly that the same people, and just in case you don't believe me, I'll go to the comments right now, right? The same people that are claiming, that somebody needs to be found for Kevin, are listening to Coach Greg Adams, who doesn't believe in relationships at all. They're commenting, for instance, Will86 commented here, Kevin Samuels lit the torch. It's up to us to keep the fire burning and carry the torch forward. Rest in power. Rest in peace, legend. Given the Red Bull addiction, this was a great stream and a wonderful tribute. Rest in peace, coward. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Kevin Samuels, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't not mean to say that. I was trying. It says rest in power, so I mixed up the words because Kevin starts with a K. So listen, I'm not on that. That I don't talk about people that are gone like that, right? There's definitely a limit. So rest in power, Kevin Samuels. Still can't believe you're gone, brother. The message will carry on, right? I disconnected from the Matrix a few days ago. Black men, if you aren't paying attention to this, you're a fool. Rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. So the response on Coach Greg Adams' own YouTube page for the support of Kevin Samuels just goes to show you essentially how much support he had, even though the messages at their very core are fundamentally completely different. Kevin Samuels believed in marriage. Coach Greg Adams believes in not getting married and going against Kevin Samuels. As a matter of fact, Coach Greg Adams even mentions in this same live stream here that Kim and Kevin Samuels used to throw little sneak disses back at each other. And I don't know if he talks about it exactly right now, but let's go ahead and keep on listening. Maybe he does.
I'm definitely about nope over there. Nope. All right. Do your best to dodge the target. Do not try to tackle the target. Do not try to walk hand in hand with the target. And this is not women. I'm talking about the marital industrial complex. I'm talking about the public school indoctrination camp. I'm talking about the same mindset that got you in the problems that you got in yesterday. Okay. But a lot of times people, because they weren't hardcore red pill, they weren't hardcore manosphere people. They were people who just were regular normies or ham and eggers or knuckle draggers or whatever you want to call them. These men found hope in his message. Now, this is where, for better or for worse, I can't really call it. Okay. I can't really call it.
So that's pretty much how a large portion of, some of the manosphere feels. But once again, you have to understand that this is why the cognitive dissonance and the explanation of guys trying to explain away why they love Kevin Samuels, holding women accountable and all this other different types of stuff is BS for a large portion or for a large matter. Because if you're supporting Coach Greg Adams, who doesn't believe in sustainable relationships, he doesn't believe in getting married. He believes that the court system is out to get men and out against men. He believes in so many injustices that have happened, and he talks about it. And hey, he has personal experiences with it. I get that. He has his personal experiences. I have my personal, message, and we all believe what we believe. But I'm saying that it's a fundamental contradiction or a conflict of interest for, on one side, you to be trying to hold women accountable for the marriages that on the other side of the manosphere you're profoundly trying to avoid. That doesn't make any sense. Either you want to get married as a collective or as the manospheric group, or you want to get married under that title, or you want to follow and go your own way and truly be a red pill or a MGTOW or a manosphere type of guy, which is originally what the manosphere started as, right? But at this point, the manosphere and the red pill has simply become, once again, blood sport and bashing women online and trying to bring the emotional state of women down to where men's emotional state is. PTE said this in a video, and this was absolutely fascinating. That wasn't my original thought right there. PTE said that. Permission to Exist, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and put her YouTube channel in the chat. That's what the manosphere has become about. That's what Kevin Samuels' show has, for the most part, become about. Let me go ahead and put her name one more time in the chat. That's what her show has become about for the most part. 1 second, y'all. Hold up. One second. Okay, this is her channel right here. Right? So, screenshot this. PTE, Permission to Exist. She said that And I thought it was an excellent explanation. That's exactly what it is on one side of the fence, right? So once again, we're going to go ahead and take the manosphere, or what the guys actually say. We're going to take it for what they say, right? Which is that Kevin did this, and Kevin did that. When we already know, we've seen multiple times online that in reality, it was a lot different how those live streams played out. It was a lot more vicious, and it was a lot more embarrassing and humiliating for the women that decided to take part in trying to become the better person, or maybe just trying to challenge Kevin on his ideologies or whatever it might be. But the overall reason for that was given brilliantly, once again, by PTE in this case. And she said it's because that a lot of guys have been going through the dating complex and through the dating situations and having a hard time, which is why Kevin was talking to these women to begin with, right? So we need to understand that fundamentally at the core concept of the manosphere, we have an issue or a conflict of interest with whether or not women are worth chasing to begin with. But if we are going to assume that because Kevin Samuels was more popular, more guys do want to be in sustainable relationships, we'll have to flow with that type of, of thought and pattern, which in which case begets the next question: why was Kevin Samuels so popular in this particular instance? And this is the reason or the explanation. It's because a lot of guys have been going through it horribly with women, which is why Kevin was trying to talk to the women to try and get women to lower back down their standards publicly on a public level, to try and change essentially the dating, I guess, scene in Western civilization within the black community or within Western civilized dating period, right? That's what a lot of people look to Kevin or the Godfather as. He was their hope, just like Coach Greg Adams just said a few seconds ago. He was their hope figure, right? Or he talks about the hope, what was he called? The hope concept or the hope message or something like that. In which case he says, I don't have any hope at this point. There is no hope for me. It is what it is. I believe that, to get married is a terrible idea. To be with a woman is a horrible idea. It's always going to go bad for you. For the most part, it's going to go bad for you. And that's where Kevin and I differed, right? That's where Kevin and I differed. So a lot of guys saw the hope in Kevin, right? They saw the hope in Kevin because Kevin was able to, once again, do and say things that he could not or they could not do. What are we asking with this question when we say who's going to replace Kevin? Kevin was preaching about marriage. A lot of y'all don't want to get married. A lot of guys don't want to get married right now. The main message of the manosphere is to not get married. Most conversations that happen in the manosphere, in the realm of guys that talk with Kevin, preach about not getting married. They don't preach about getting married and having successful marriages. These are two different, completely fundamentally different conversations that are being had in the manosphere, within the manosphere. Everything that Kevin was representing was not what those guys represent. All they wanted to do was tune in and watch black women get destroyed online, essentially. What are we asking with this question when we say who's going to replace Kevin? Kevin was preaching about marriage. A lot of y'all don't want to get married. A lot of guys don't want to get married right now. The main message of the manosphere is to not get married. Most conversations that happen in the manosphere, in the realm of guys that talk with Kevin, preach about not getting married. They don't preach about getting married and having successful marriages. These are two different, completely fundamentally different conversations that are being had in the manosphere, within the manosphere. Everything that Kevin was representing was not what those guys represent. All they wanted to do was tune in and watch black women get destroyed online, essentially.